local market today. Stan Shamu joins us from IG in Melbourne. Stan, great to see you there. Yeah, just in terms of what we're seeing in the moves in our offshore markets, how's this going to affect our market at the open?
Well, at the moment, it looks like it will be a positive open for the Australian market. We're currently calling it up about 0.6% to 4,761. So that's a nice little continuation from the rally we saw yesterday into the close. Of course, we've got this unraveling political drama at the moment, and some feel that it might have a little bit of an influence on sentiment, but it certainly doesn't look like that will be the case until we get a bit more of a definitive date on the elections. If anything changes on that front, then maybe we might potentially see an impact on the market. But for now, we are looking at a positive start. The key concern for today's session will be whether or not the miners will be able to hold on to the early gains. Of course, we did see some further US dollar strength overnight, with the dollar index rallying to that 83 level. Now, this is generally negative for commodities, and we'll have to see if that drop in gold and iron ore will be something that the market can cope with today. It looks like some of the gold names will be under significant pressure. Over in Toronto, we saw the gold mining index drop 5.8%, so we could see similar losses in some of the local gold names, considering some of them are listed in Toronto as well. And of course, with iron ore, we saw some pretty good gains for Fortescue, BHP and Rio yesterday, so there's a strong chance that the continuation of the fall in iron ore this week will start to have an influence or an impact on some of these miners, and they might get rid of some of the gains that they got yesterday.
Just in terms of the political drama unfolding in Canberra there, Rudd back as Prime Minister, where's the focus going to be in markets? How do you think markets will react to that? Will it mainly be, what, in the Aussie?
Yeah, well, with the Aussie dollar, it seems like that might be the primary target for a lot of offshore investors. Of course, they'll be watching this fairly closely as well. Of course, policies are always different, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with elections and how this ultimately impacts the RBA and rate expectations by analysts. Of course, a lot of analysts were expecting potentially another rate cut pre or post election time, which was September. But now that there's potential that this might be in August, then that might start to see some analysts come out and give a differing or varying opinion, and that might cause a little bit of a difference in the swaps market there. That's when we'll start probably seeing the Aussie dollar price in a bit of a difference to rate expectations. But for now, I think the Aussie dollar already had a lot to contend with, particularly with the slowing of the mining sector and the impact it's having on the local economy. Of course, we've got China issues as well. Yesterday was a bit of a relief, really, for the interbank rates as they drop in China. That is, as they dropped below 6% to about 5.8. So that might be something that will give some relief to the Aussie dollar. But ultimately, if we do get further developments on the election date, then that might start to have an impact on the Aussie dollar. Whether it will be positive or negative is still very questionable. Of course, at the moment, there's too many factors to contend with for the Aussie dollar to just pin it down to elections. We also have a very strong US dollar at the moment, which is hampering the progress that we've been seeing in the Aussie versus the greenback. So we'll have to wait and see if it can hold on to that 92 level and potentially maybe trade back above that 93 level after having tested or printed a high of 93.45 overnight.
Do you expect a pop in Australian equities after the election?
Oh, well, no one knows that, to be honest, but I think the global factors are always a bit of a bigger issue for Australian equities and sentiment compared to what the elections will do, really, especially considering the fact that the mining sector has pulled back significantly, with their prospects just looking like they're dwindling by the day. We still have, gold miners as well, just looking like they're in such a vulnerable position. Gold prices continue to fall. That's obviously weighing on profit margins, and there will be calls for potential write-downs or even capital raisings for some of these miners. And the impact these guys have as well on the mining services industries is immense. So that will be probably the bigger factor compared to what will happen with elections, I suppose.
Stan, as always, thank you so much for that. Going to be an interesting
Cheers,
day.
buddy.
Well, of course, during the news conference that Kevin Rudd gave last night after being appointed as the new leader of the Labor Party, he said that he wanted to work closely with business, saying that together they can do great things.